Jama, salamu alaikum ya Jama, assalamu alaikum.
We bore witness to love. Love that transcends color and borders from the blessed people of Ghana for Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. They returned the love and care this humble servant gave to them for 8 years, until the entire nation reached out to him and embraced him as her own.
When I was here, I did not think of abandoning this country. I considered myself to be a Ghanaian.
Join us on this unforgettable journey in this 2-part series as we tread the footsteps of humility and humanity, exemplified by Huzur as a young devotee.
A very unassuming, gentle, and humble human being.
Witness the example of dedication.
That man was good. If not because of him, like this school would not come to stay.
Witness the example of love.
That's my best friend.
He was teaching you English.
Witness the example of brotherhood.
President today, Huzur, could lay his head with us.
It's an example of humility. It's an example of obedience. It's an example of commitment. It's an example of recognizing a human being for his work.
Salamu alaikum ya Jama, assalamu alaikum.
Well, my concern is not only with the Ahmadis in Africa, but with Africa itself. I'm a religious leader who believes in total dedication to the cause of Allah, and if you are honest in that dedication, then you must be dedicated to His creation. I'm training and instructing my community according to the best education and teachings in Islam. That is to say, serve the cause of humanity just for the love of it.
The concern and compassion that the Khulafa hold for humanity is unparalleled. Ever since the Khulafa set foot on the African land, they immediately set in motion plans that would enable the African people to rise up and embrace a brighter future. By the early 80s, the Nusrat Jahan scheme was bearing fruit all over Africa. It was time to take another leap. It just so happened that by Allah's design, the world came to witness another miracle, and this time through the hands of Sahibzada Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. Post-colonial West Africa was at a constant struggle to support its economies, and Ghana was no exception. This is before the discovery of oil. Other than the export of a few food items, such as cocoa and fish, there wasn't much else bringing enough revenue for Ghana. On top of that, one of the most basic requirements of food was not produced at all, but in fact imported from overseas. Due to harsh weather conditions, lack of fertile soil and water, wheat could not be produced in Ghana. Even today, more than 90% of wheat in Ghana is imported from the US. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV rahmahullah decided it was time for change. Sahibzada Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad was an accomplished agriculturist with a master's degree in agriculture, and he was stationed in Asachir as headmaster for the T.I. Ahmadiyah Secondary School at the time. All the trees here were originally planted by Huzur when the school was moved to this location. Not only this, but Huzur for the first time in Ghana had experimented with growing soya bean at the school, which was an incredible success. So much so that the then president of Ghana, Dr. Hila Liman, took a whole sackful away with him after his inspection of the school. This was to be the start of a groundbreaking project, initiated by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV rahmahullah. And for this task, Hazrat Sahibzada Mirza Masroor Ahmad was located to the north, this time to Tamale, to start what would come to be known as the Ahmadiyya Agriculture Project. Welcome to Tamale, capital of the northern region of Ghana. The Ahmadiyya agriculture project required the right balance of cool weather, fertile soil, and easy access to water. The committee set up by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV rahmahullah for the project, which included Hazur, was tasked with experimenting with growing wheat, corn, okra, and other vegetables. Areas around Tamale next to the rivers during the relatively cooler Harmattan season were the best place for the experiment. This wasn't the first time this was being done. Several government-backed projects had already tried unsuccessfully with over 21 different variations of wheat. All efforts had been abandoned in pursuing matters further. Hazur lacked the support and finances the government projects may have had. For the Jamaat to be successful, it required a miracle to succeed where others had failed. We're on our way to see the very house Hazur relocated to in Tamale, and to show us around, we are going to meet the parents of our very own Abdul Hai, who were Hazur's neighbors during his stay in Tamale.
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you doing?
So, this is where Hazur used to live. Looking at the building itself, it's pretty much humble. How was his reaction? What was his reaction like when you told him this is the house you got for him? Did he like it?
Oh, he was very happy. I could see that he was very anxious to move into the house. He was also equally happy that at least he had got a place where he could be very comfortable. And I saw sort of a very unassuming, gentle, and humble human being. That was how I assessed him. Very quiet, very unassuming, and very respectful.
All right, so can you show us inside the house? Yeah.
This is the living room.
This used to be the living room.
Yeah,
it's now
an office.
Yeah.
Where we had his dining table at the side. Anytime we came in, he would welcome us. Then, of course, my wife would go inside and meet the wife, and I'll be here with him.
So when you came in, where did Mommy used to go?
Mommy, as soon as she would just take through this door and meet Huzur's wife, and then we would go into the bedroom.
All right, so I'll meet Mommy right there and then ask her what she used to do with Huzur's wife and what some of the activities Mommy, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So when you came in with Daddy, what happened?
Anytime I came with my husband, Huzur's wife would meet me and then send me into her bedroom.
Yeah, where was
Living Huzur alone. That time, used to be. There were 2 bedrooms, but we used to be here.
This is, so what's this now?
This place is now the office for the regional manager of Ahmadiyya unit.
Ahmadiyya education.
Ahmadiyya and education unit.
Okay.
But this used to be one of the living rooms where I used to sit with my friend.
Huzur's wife?
Yes, please. The children sometimes, sometimes when we came, they would come with Jamila and Nuruhak.
Yes.
So sometimes they used to play around outside. There's an outhouse there, or they used to be there. Sometimes they would be around with Huzur himself or here. So when there was any communication, then they would run there too.
So what were some of the things you used to talk about?
Well, we talked about a whole lot of things because at that time, things were so difficult. Things were so difficult. There wasn't water. Sometimes it was difficult to come by food. So sometimes we lament on some of those things. She would tell me some of the dishes that they liked, and then she would also ask me some of the dishes that, we also prepare in.
I remember you telling me one time that those times it was so difficult that it was hard to come by water.
Yes.
So the water you would use to cook, you would use that same water to probably wash your plates, use the same water to do other things. So did you ever at any point in time hear him or his wife complain or regret for coming here?
Never.
They never complained?
Never complained. Anytime you did anything, whatever it was, they were just so content with the situation that they found themselves.
Never complained?
They never complained.
Not even once?
Not even once.
And you were really very close?
Very, very close. Very close.
Wow.
Very close.
And so, can you tell me, Mommy, what your fondest memory of this room is? Because obviously you had a lot of interaction.
In fact, not here, but in the kitchen.
Oh, can we take a tour to the kitchen there?
My memory was in the kitchen. This is a very small kitchen. This is where we used to be.
Yes.
You can imagine this is the sink. You know, and they had a small table here, a very small work table. And this is where we used to. Sometimes when I came in and we used to come here, where she taught me how to do chapati.
Oh.
She taught me how to prepare okra stew, which we used to eat with
chapati.
The chapati. You know, she taught me how to do.
So now that's the secret behind this, the taste of your chapati. Oh, right. I now know the secret to my mom's chapati.
Yes.
So she taught you how to prepare chapati. What did you prepare? Teach her how to?
Jollof rice.
Jollof rice.
Yes.
I'm sure she will still remember jollof rice.
But she also used to cook rice, this colored rice with sugar, which I never ate before. And then she will prepare her rice with pickles. She will prepare rice and put pickles, which I never ate before. But it was so nice. I used to enjoy it. And since she went, I don't think I've eaten pickles again.
Wow.
I'd like to get some.
Al-Haj Momin leads us to his own old house, where he and Hazur would often sit under the trees and enjoy some tea and conversation.
So this is your house?
Yes, this is where I live. And I used to grow. In the evening, we used to come and sit down here. Let's say between the hours of 4 and 6. We used to be here. Occasionally too, we went inside, depending on the weather conditions.
So you used to sit under this mango tree? Yes. Was it as big as this?
No, it was much
huge.
smaller.
It was much smaller than this.
We were talking about 20 years ago.
So can you tell us, what sort of conversation did you used to have, and what did the sort of things you used to talk about tell you about the personality of this man?
We talked about so many things, as I've said. In fact, from Alpha to Omega, we talked about religion, of course, as Ahmadis. We talked even politics, local politics and international politics.
So having interacted with him on several occasions, what sort of impressions did he make on you?
Frankly, as a very humble, honest, gentle, and God-fearing person. Yes. And then I remember there was an incident I wouldn't forget. In the month of Ramadan, it was during the drought. We had, in fact, food was very difficult to come by. On the last day of Ramadan, the moon appeared. But believe me, some people didn't know what food to cook the following day to celebrate Eid. I was a bit better, but I wasn't okay. So we were contemplating what to do with the rest that we had, because it wouldn't be sufficient. Then somebody came, I think that was his houseboy. I said, he said, Master said, make I call you. But apparently asked him that he wanted to see me. So I walked across and then gave him salam. Then he told me that, fortunately he was able to mobilize some rice. And was sharing among members of the Jamaat, of course, at a cost. So he said, this is your share. That's the price. This one is for Mr. Umar, the one who is now in one. This one is for Mr. Umar. I said, okay, I'll take this for him. And then there was another chap also called Issa. He was just saying, of course, he said, this one please for Issa, but Issa came for his, I didn't pick it for him. So when I picked Mr. Umar's, I brought it in home. I said, man, you could have told him, Ahmadiyah, look at what has happened. Mr. Masroor has brought us some rice. I mean, it is so wonderful. We're all excited about the rice. So I quickly myself sent Mr. Umar's own to him. I said, Uncle, Mr. Mumin brought some rice, said that it's Mr. Masroor who sent it. I said, what? Rice? You don't mean
on the
rice?
11th
Yes.
hour?
On the 11th hour. The man, when he just when they looked at it, this just walked straight to me. I said, Uncle, what's the matter? I said, He said, my brother, I still remember, I'm going to quote. I still remember his quote. Yeah, so they said, this is a practical manifestation of Allah by himself.
So now he would go to the farm as well?
Yes.
How did he usually go to the farm?
When he came at first, he didn't have a vehicle. But he managed to go sometimes on a tractor, sometimes he used it on a motorbike. But eventually, he had a Ford pickup, which he was using. Yes, so he used to use that one.
So he was that humble?
Yes.
He could ride on a tractor?
The tractor, on the mudguard, yes.
On the mudguard of a tractor?
Yes.
And he was humble enough to travel all the way to Dipali on the motorbike as well?
About 35, 40 miles away from here.
Was he riding himself or someone used to?
Somebody used to pick him, yes.
The site for the agriculture project was 40 miles away, at the village of Dipale, where Huzur would travel to and more than often used to spend his nights at the village.
I'm now on my way to Dipale, that very famous village where Huzur first successfully implemented and cultivated wheat for the very first time in Ghana. And prior to this, other government officials and agencies had tried several times to cultivate wheat in Ghana and had in fact concluded that it was an impossibility trying to cultivate wheat in Ghana until Huzur proved all those critics wrong. And then this is the road where Huzur used to travel on. He used to travel on this very road on motorbikes and sometimes even on tractors until the Jamaat purchased for him a vehicle similar to the 4x4 I am using now. And trust me, even riding in this 4x4, you can see it's very shaky and bumpy. It's not comfortable at all. So one can imagine 30 years back, that kind of turmoil Huzur had to experience on his way to the farm at Dipale.
40 miles on a dusty, broken dirt road is no easy journey in any vehicle. But try imagine so in a tractor. Muhammad Bukhari, the project's tractor driver, is going to show us how it was done 30 years ago.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Can I come forward to Dipala?
Okay, come.
All right.
Okay.
So how are you doing? How are you?
I'm fine.
Alhamdulillah.
How
All
are
right,
you?
let's go. I'm fine. I'm fine. Your family?
Yes, I'm fine.
All right. Do you remember one Mr. Masroor Ahmed?
Yes. That's my best friend.
Your best friend?
Yes.
Tell me about him.
Hey, after Mr. Masroor, I work with him in Dipale. We do irrigation, making corn, popcorn, wheat. Hey, many things.
At where? Dipale?
Dipale.
So you used to drive the tractor to
Tractor?
Dipale?
Yes. Hey.
Has he ever joined you on the tractor?
Yes.
Tell me about his journey with you on the tractor.
Every day we are going 40 miles, in and out 80 miles away. Every day.
And where would he be sitting?
We are sitting behind where we are sitting.
Just here?
Yes.
I can't imagine this. This man used to sit here?
Yes.
On the mudguard of the tractor?
Yes. The time we are start making fasting, still we have been going.
Even during Ramadan, when you are fasting?
Yes.
You still go on the farm?
Yes.
And you'll be, during Ramadan, you still sit on this?
Yes.
In the scorching sun?
Yes. That man is very fine, good man. He's a good man. Sometimes I will speak my English. You say, your English is very poor.
He was teaching you English?
Yes.
And he will tell you your English is poor?
He said, your English is very poor.
I'm sure today, if he hears you speaking English, he'll give you a thumbs up, yeah?
On the Oktober malo ni yala. Anu shama da benno. This one want to na no. Kamel no. We no te to la kan bora. La ko o yala. On da de shama. Wo tuma nguna yelma le. Nda ku nya to sora nya wo mo so sen tan pata polo. Gome Oktober bukta de yanga. Bendirbu dun tuna tunun sham. We no limited. Ama ngul no karbutuba. Winya malo ni wuha. Ngontu na the nama. Kata be on borshama. I the tamba ora oya bendu da dan ka bol chipati. Nda bol pa ora pent motorma der ben sama. Kan yo yam bol pa nanji. Ko nan bol pam jipa. Ayo ko mala dira sant.
All right. Before then, did you see wheat in Ghana before? And what did Huzur do? What did Mr. Masroor do to bring the wheat?
Alila wheat one Ghana brand wheat banana Ghana. So when you Ghana, one shot to quality and that quality the pallet carano. So I agree Canada come na batin yele. Brashim na wheat to put on Ghana. The satin that quality carpul no. Oh, then I know to dry. Cut soak Panama. I'm cannot lay in there. Then put them yellow Puma. One that Diana Casson centre pour oncle couler m'emblagne tout nyang batunda
an chan dan magana Islam suna
When we were running a farm there were quite a number of days when I would travel by tractor to the farm, which was almost 35 miles from my residence. Sometime I used to drive the tractor, and some days I would sit on the mudguard of the tractor. So by the time you would get to the place, you are so tired that it is very much difficult for you to do some job.
This is the village of Dipale, now a thriving community, but at the time of the project it was a tiny village with farmland close to the White Volta River. As is customary, permission is first sought from the village chief. Talking for us is Huzu's old companion in the project, Muhammad Abdullah, now chief of his tribe.
The present Huzu was the farm manager of Ahmadiyah Agri Project, Northern Region, Tamale. The farm was sited in Dipale. And due to the inconvenience or the distance from Dipale to Tamale, the Agri Project decided to build a farmhouse. But as of now, we can only have a trace of it, because since we left the project, people has encroached on where they will build the farmhouse.
Yeah. So where was this house?
This was where the house was. We had 2 bedrooms, 2 rooms.
This particular spot?
This particular spot.
So
from here, most likely, from here up to that place.
So as I'm standing here, it's possible I could be standing in a spot, in a room where Huzu used to sleep. Wow, there was a room here.
Yes.
Was it made of bricks? Was it similar to what's here?
This is even looking more nicer.
This is nicer. Was it similar to that?
We've just built, we used some swish to build it.
Yes.
Then there's some little byproduct of rice husk.
Wow.
To plaster it.
Wow.
And the floor was anything, just to lay our heads.
Wow.
And Huzu was present today. Huzu could lay his head with us.
Oh, you mean you were all sleeping in the same room?
In the same room.
You were his work. You were working under him.
I was working under him. I was his assistant manager.
All right.
Oh, yeah. we had to cook our own. And do you know what was happening?
Yeah.
If Huzu was to stay here for 3-4 days, his wife who has to prepare chapati, then some cakes. That will survive him for afternoon, evening, and morning, for 3 days. You see this? Yeah. You see this room?
Yes.
This is a modern room.
You call this is a modern room compared to what you and Huzu
were saying. Wow. This is a modern room. Very nice. Huzu, we couldn't make a room like this.
Oh.
Yes.
And you didn't tell me about the roofing.
It was all with thatch.
This is made of
grass.
Grass. This is grass.
Yes.
Yours too was made of grass.
We had to buy the grass from this village.
Wow.
Yes.
And well, obviously this is cement.
Well polished. Yes, we just use mud to ramp. We use sticks to ramp it so that it could hold.
Yeah. So talk about ants. Talk about other rodents.
For that, ants, we didn't talk of them.
There were no ants in the room.
Wow. We have to manage with them.
You had to manage, so you were literally living in the same room with ants at the time.
What we had to do.
Wow. And snakes, scorpions.
Snakes, this was the only place that was within this side, the only house. So you could imagine the type of reptiles and other things we're facing. I had a snake bite, scorpion bite in this one of our rooms for 3 days.
A scorpion bite?
Scorpion bite. I had the pains for 3 good days.
And what kind of things were you sleeping on? I can see this is a modern kind of mattress, isn't it?
Yes, he had this student light mattress foam. Or at times he comes with a bed sheet.
So he used to come with something like this, or a bed sheet that you just put on the floor and lie on.
Lie on it.
Wow. Well, I know this is more comfortable than what Huzu used to lie on.
The project has no money to buy all these luxurious things.
Wow. But I'll just right now, James, I'm just going to make an attempt to have a feel of what Huzu might have felt at the time that he was here, and he would sleep on something which was
what we see here was more comfortable than what he used to sleep on. I'll just try and see if I can spend 8 hours of the night on this mattress. And
yes.
You used to have mosquito nets, you said?
Yes, we nailed the mosquito nets in the square rectangular form for him to avoid mosquitoes.
Oh, this is very much unlike my bed. I'm just wondering if I can survive this for 8 hours, you know.
But who has to survive with it?
No, it's just too hard for me now. I can't. Must have been a lot of sacrifice. Yeah?
Of course.
And for all of you.
Yeah.
Wow. Chief Mohammed Abdullah, so in those days, obviously, you just mentioned you used to bring, Huzur used to bring items like chapati and all that.
Yes.
But if you wanted to take tea, obviously you would have to boil water. How did you go? No electricity, no kettle.
This makes me remember one day he was hungry at the farm. Then he asked me to boil tea for him. Eventually, we used the bowl that we used to prepare our soup.
Like this one there?
Like
that black, okay.
So after preparing, Abdullah, have you put pepper in the tea?
Oh, okay. Because
yes.
it's been used to...
We used it to prepare our soup.
So there was chili, there was spice, everything in it. And you didn't wash it well?
Yes. So you have to manage.
Let's have a look at the pots here. Okay. So there's water. I can clearly see that there's water in there. So, but then this same pot is used for soup
and
is used
other
for
thing.
Stew, is used for other things. And at the same time, you would use it to boil water.
Boil tea. So that is it.
Wow.
So you could imagine the stress, the uncomfortability, the hardships, the sacrifice the President Huzur made towards the Ahmadiyya Agri project. This was a co-worker, or do I say a companion in this village, who at times helps in the farm.
Wow.
This was our best friend. When we needed fish, he could give me a fish. But that time, this guy was a small boy. And we used to send them. So you see?
Yeah.
And they all knew Huzur. They all knew him.
You all remember him? Izamio.
Zaramio. Kabono, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. All right,
that is his name.
All you're telling me here is that, look, when Huzur worked here, he lived with them, he worked with them, and they all know him. They still do remember him, and they remember him by the name Assalamu alaikum, because they think that he was a man of peace. And indeed, Huzur is a man of peace. Okay.
Azim Indonesia Jayalah Indonesia